Well, hello everyone. Hoping every one of you is well, every one of you is fine, and that everyone in your families are doing well too. We are already in the festivities, season of festivities, and Navratri is already started. And hoping that you all will be finding time to study, but then I am also hoping you all will be finding time and reasons to celebrate, reasons to enjoy, and reasons to thank God the Almighty, or thank whatever you all are, whoever you all are worshipping, that this year we have still made it far without any much or without any such problems, and so that the coming year and the remaining of this year also goes on well for all of us. Hoping that you all, okay, this year we will not be experiencing Durga Puja or the other festivals the way we used to usually. Festivities will be toned down. Most of us won't be going outside. Then there are no pandals to visit. There will be no such celebrations. But then we can always celebrate in our heart. Let our hearts be filled with happiness, and let us find ways to celebrate, reasons to celebrate. Celebration can always happen in the family, celebration can happen within your mind itself. So hoping you all will be doing that, you all will be staying happy. And well, what to say, when we are talking of all these things, there is something else also to be kept in mind. Many of us did not have such a good year. Many of us faced many difficulties. Some in their families, they went through a lot of struggle. Some may have suffered through COVID. So all these things, let us pray for each other. Let us pray for the world, so that the world, we can come out of this crisis without any much more harm, and that we can resume life as it was, or as we knew it. Once again, in this, before I start with the video, I'll be speaking of a few things. You see, right now is the time to come and experience things which you all know, or so as to, this is the time so that you all can start experiencing things and start experiencing life. You all can understand what you want to do with your life, so start exploring different avenues, start exploring different career options, start searching in the internet about different careers, about what you can do with your life, so that you all do not just have a vague idea what you want in life, but that you all know for sure what is that you want to make out of your life. Because if we do not know that, then the remaining of the life becomes a bit tad bit boring. If you know what you want to do with your life, it becomes much more simpler. So this is the time so as to explore whatever you all want to do. What is that you love? What is that subject you like to study? What is that stream which you want to take up? Do you want to become an engineer? Do you want to become a cook? Do you want to become an artist? Do you want to become a geographer? Do you want to become an archaeologist? All these things, this is the time you all have got. Do not take this lockdown thing as something of a curse. This is actually a boon for you all. Explore this, explore yourself, explore your different ambitions, ideas, the wishes. This is the time so as to get to know yourselves so very well. And well, stay happy, and spend a lot of time with your family. With all this, let us just I know it is once again season of festivities, but then we have to do a bit of study. So let us just start studying. And once again, a happy Navratra to all of you. May the goddess of power, may the goddess, we worship Lady Durga as Shakti. So let the power of Ma Durga stay with you all, so that you all can come out of this crisis kind of a thing without any harm, and everyone you all know, everyone you all care about, stay out of harm's way too. So let us go back to studies. Okay, eighthers. Well, we were talking about the Indian judiciary, and well, there is one thing to be told to you all. We all know that the executive in India, it is divided into the center and the state. What does it mean? It means that there is an executive at the center and there is an executive at the state. Executive at the center, it comprises of the prime minister and the cabinet ministers, and the executive at the or in the state level, it will be comprising of well, the chief minister and his council of ministers. That is the executive nature of the executive. But when we are talking of the, even so it is in the case of the legislature, it is divided into the center and the state. But when we are talking of the judiciary, it is not such in a such way divided. It is a singular structure. First comes the Supreme Court of India, then comes the higher courts, and then comes the other subordinary courts and the district courts. So this is the structure of the judiciary. It is nowhere divided. It is not that there is something called a state judiciary, something called a central judiciary. One correction to be made: in your book, it is given the salary of a Supreme Court Chief Justice of India is 1 lakh, and that of a Supreme Court judge is somewhere around 90,000. But then it is to be corrected. It got changed in 2018, and according to that change, the present salary of a Supreme Court judge is 2,80,000, and that, I mean, the salary of the Chief Justice of India is 2,80,000, and the salary of a Supreme Court judge, the other judges, is 2.5 lakh or 2,50,000. So this, please correct this in your books. Now, when we talk of any of what is, whenever we talk of judiciary, there is something called jurisdiction. What does jurisdiction mean? Jurisdiction means the limit of someone's power. So the limit of the powers of any court is called that court's jurisdiction. So when we are talking of, or in Hindi you may be calling jurisdiction as something called कानूनी दायरा, जिस दायरे के अंदर वो कानून बना सकता है वो या वो लॉ बना सकता है, उसको कहेंगे jurisdiction. So the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is the whole of India. Jurisdiction of the High Court is that state. जिस स्टेट में हाई कोर्ट है उस स्टेट का लिमिट्स में ही द हाई कोर्ट कैन गिव इट्स डिसीजंस. Jurisdiction of a lower court of that, or that of a district court, is the territorial area of a district. So this is something you need to keep in mind. Now, when we talk of a court, be it the Supreme Court, the High Court, or other court, there are a few special kinds of jurisdiction. One is called the original jurisdiction, one is called the appellate jurisdiction, and the other is called the revisory jurisdiction. Let us understand these terms one by one. What does original jurisdiction mean? Original jurisdiction means that those kind of cases which can originate, or which can be raised, or which can be brought for to a court for the first time. Did not understand? Well and good. Suppose a crime is committed, and a crime is committed in Dhanbad. So we cannot be going to the Supreme Court directly. So we will be first going to the lower court. So the crime which has been committed in Dhanbad, it gets to the Dhanbad district court, and that becomes an original jurisdiction. पहली बार जहाँ पर जाता है कोई केस, वो टाइप का jurisdiction को कहते हैं हम लोग original jurisdiction. So that is an original jurisdiction. So when we are talking of that crime which has been committed in Dhanbad, it goes to the Dhanbad district court. That is the original jurisdiction of the Dhanbad district court. Now Dhanbad district court gives a judgment. Now suppose the person is unhappy with the judgment, the person can appeal in a higher court. So that person can go to the high court, or which is situated in Ranchi, because it has been committed, the crime was committed within the territorial area of Jharkhand. So the person is going to the high court which is there in Ranchi, that is the high court of Jharkhand. So that person goes to the Ranchi high court. So this case, was it for the first time brought in front of the Ranchi high court? No. So what happens? The Ranchi High Court, this case which was committed in Dhanbad, which was first given the decision which was first given by the Dhanbad High Court, the Dhanbad District Court. Now this goes to the Ranchi High Court. So this case becomes an appeal case in the Ranchi High Court. So this becomes an appellate jurisdiction. Cases which are coming to a court by the way of appeal. अपील के माध्यम से जिस जो cases are going to any court, that is called appellate jurisdiction. And then there is revisory jurisdiction. What does revisory jurisdiction mean? Revisory jurisdiction is a very special kind of a thing, and the special power is granted to the Supreme Court and the High Court. What does revisory jurisdiction mean? Revisory jurisdiction means that any decision which was taken by the High Court, any decision which was taken by the Supreme Court, suppose today, this is the 18th of October 2020, Supreme Court takes a decision. So that decision which has been taken by the Supreme Court, suppose maybe 50 years after, that is 18th of October 2070, the Supreme Court of India, some lawyers, some judges, they understand that the decision which was taken back in 2020, a similar case arises in 2070 also. And the judge will now understand that, okay, this judgment which was given in 2020 should be changed and it should be revised. So the Supreme Court itself has the power to revise its own judgment, or the High Court also has this power. The High Court has this power to revise its own judgment. This is called the revisory jurisdiction. So you all understand now what is an original jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction is that kind of or those cases which are brought in front of a court, or which can be brought in front of a court for the first time. Appeal jurisdiction or appellate jurisdiction are those cases which can be brought to a court by the way of appeal. And what is revisory jurisdiction? Revisory jurisdiction means that those cases which can be, or those decisions which can be revised by any court, those are called revisory jurisdictions. Now let us understand what are the original jurisdictions of the Supreme Court. Now the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, there are not many cases which can be brought directly to the Supreme Court. One thing very importantly has to be kept in mind. The Supreme Court, along with the High Court, it is called the guardian of the Constitution, and it is also called the protector of the fundamental rights. So anyone, if he or she feels that their fundamental right has been violated, suppose you feel that your fundamental right to education has been violated, you can directly go to the High Court or to the Supreme Court. So any case which is there as a violation of fundamental rights, they are original jurisdictions of both the High Court and the Supreme Court. Now there is another kind of a case which is an original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. That is, if there is any kind of a dispute, jhagda, between the union government and some state. I mean, you all know the center will not be fighting with the state. It happens so that there may be some kind of a disagreement for the sharing of taxes, sharing of money, some cases like that. So if there is a disagreement, if there is a case in which the central government is against one state or some states, or if there is a state which is against some other state, or if there are some states against another group of states of India, so these cases can be brought for the first time directly to the Supreme Court. This is the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. And then you have this fundamental right violation. One more thing is not given in the book, but it is also an original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. That is, if there is any dispute regarding the election of the President or the Vice President of India, those cases are also brought directly to the Supreme Court. So these are the original jurisdictions of the Supreme Court. Now what are the appeal jurisdictions or the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court? Those cases which are heard by the High Court, those cases which have been given judgment of by the High Court, those cases can go to the Supreme Court by way of appeal. So suppose if you are unhappy with the judgment of the High Court, you can now go to the Supreme Court, provided that such a case is allowed, provided that the High Court gives you a certificate that yes, you can move to the Supreme Court. Otherwise, if this was the case, then every case which would have been given a judgment of by the High Court would have moved to the Supreme Court. So not every case goes there. Those cases which are given a certificate by the High Court, and there are also a few certain special cases which can go as ways of appeal to the Supreme Court. So this is the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. And well, what is revisory jurisdiction? Advisory jurisdiction. This is also very important. There is another I forgot to mention. Original jurisdiction, there's the revisory jurisdiction, there's the appellate jurisdiction, and then there is the advisory jurisdiction. Advisory jurisdiction means that kind of jurisdiction in which advice will be given. So advice will be given to the whoever who wants advice from the Supreme Court judge. So this advisory jurisdiction, when we are talking of the advisory jurisdiction, the Prime Minister of India, the executive, the President of India, they can take advice from the Supreme Court. And this advice, the Prime Minister or the President, they can follow this advice, they cannot follow this advice, that is up to them. So this is advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Next comes the revisory jurisdiction. As I already said, Supreme Court has the power to revise its own judgments. So this is called the revisory jurisdiction. Any case which had been given or a decision by the Supreme Court, they can be again reversed by the Supreme Court itself. No other court can do that for the Supreme Court. So that is the revisory jurisdiction. What are the functions of the Supreme Court? First function of the Supreme Court, it is the guardian of the Constitution. The Supreme Court is called the final interpreter of the Constitution. What does this word, this sentence mean? What does interpretation means? Interpretation means samajna. So whatever is written down in the Constitution, the Constitution makers, they had understood one thing, that maybe the politicians may understand the Constitution in their own way so as to suit their own benefits. The governments can do that so as to suit their own benefits. And so the Constitution makers feared that if the final say or the final understanding of the Constitution is left with the executive or the legislature, that is with the politicians, then they can use the Constitution for their own benefits. The Constitution makers, they were freedom fighters. They did not want a very hard-earned freedom of the Indians to go away like this. So they knew that they had to put the faith and they have to put the power of interpreting the Constitution, the final word of interpreting the Constitution, the final understanding of the Constitution should be with someone who will be impartial, and thus they left it with the Supreme Court. So whatever the Supreme Court says, suppose the Parliament makes a law, and suppose I go to the Supreme Court and I say that this law which has been made by the Parliament, it is in violation of the Constitution. What it means is that वो Constitution में जो लिखा हुआ है उसके खिलाफ है ये law. So what the Supreme Court will do is that it will review my case, it will look into the case, and then it will look into that part of the Constitution, that part which I am saying that the Parliament has violated. It will look into that part of the Constitution, and then if it understands, if it feels that the Parliament has not or if the Parliament has violated the Constitution, then the Supreme Court can strike down that law. That is the judicial review actually. So there is another point over here, that what it means over here is that the Parliament can understand whatever is written in the Constitution in their own words, in their own terms. You and I, we can read the Constitution, we will understand something, or we may understand whatever is written in the Constitution, but what the Supreme Court says is written in the Constitution is final. The word of the Supreme Court is final in this. So the Supreme Court is the final guardian or the final interpreter of the Constitution. Very important to keep this in mind. Next, Supreme Court can issue writs. What are writs actually? Writs are nothing but these are legal instruments. ये lawyers लोग, advocates लोग, courts, they can use it. Why do they use it? These writs are used so as to protect the fundamental rights. We will be doing about writs later on in this chapter, but the Supreme Court can issue writs so as to protect the fundamental rights of the citizens. Once again, over here also it is becoming the guardian of the Constitution. Why? Because the Constitution is giving the citizens of India the fundamental rights. So no one can take away those fundamental rights except in special cases like cases of emergencies. Next, Supreme Court is also called the Court of Record. Whatever is going on in the Supreme Court, whatever cases are being dealt with in the Supreme Court, whatever judgments are given in the Supreme Court, whatever proceedings are happening in the Supreme Court, all of it is recorded down to the minute, and each of it is recorded and it is stored. Previously it used to be stored in paper form. Nowadays it is stored both digitally and in paper form. You can find all these records in the internet too, in the website of the Supreme Court. Why is this done? Because the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land, highest court of India, and the decisions taken by the Supreme Court are of very, very important consequences, and those decisions are very, very important. So these are kept as records. If a similar case is rising in any lower court and any high court, then the decision of the Supreme Court is taken as the, or will be the decision of the High Court and of the lower court too. So these records are kept for the High Courts, these records are kept for the lower courts, these records are also kept for the Supreme Court. So for in the future, those records can be brought out and it can give a good understanding. It can help in the legal proceedings also. This is what it means by the court of record. Also to be kept in mind, the High Court is also called a court of record. All the decisions, all the proceedings, all the judgments of the High Court, it is also saved and it is also recorded, all of it. From the first day it was created till this day, all of it is recorded and kept. And judicial review is another power, very important power of the Supreme Court. What it actually means is that it is again what I was saying, the constitution makers, they knew the parliamentarians can twist the words of the constitution, understand it in their own way so as to suit their own benefits and needs. So the Supreme Court placed the trust in the judiciary, in the Supreme Court, and if the Supreme Court finds that some law which has been made by the parliament is unconstitutional, then it can strike off that law. This is what it actually means. So I guess it is clear to you all these parts of the Supreme Court or the functions of the Supreme Court. We'll be doing the High Court later on and the writs. But before that, please enjoy this limited holiday which you're getting, although it is a part of the extended holidays. You all are in holiday from February itself. But then please enjoy this bit also and celebrate, if not outside, within your own self, in your mind and in your heart and in home. Thank you.